So Johnny Ray's move to Yamaha has turned out to be probably not what he had hoped, and definitely not what Yamaha had hoped. Now, for me, watching back all the season so far, it's actually, if anything, it's kind of building a better foundation of just showing how good Toprak was last year on that bike. Now, of course, this year we did have the new change in rules where the minimum rider weight came in, and that's definitely played a part in everyone, not just Bautista, even though it looks like Bautista has lost the most. There's definitely riders who've also gained from that, such as the heavier riders like a Toprak who is on the taller scale. But last year, the amount of time he was losing on the straights, and everywhere in the track he'd make it back up on the brakes. And again this year it looks like the Yamaha is probably somehow slower. Kawasaki look okay on the straight. BMW very good up against the Ducati. Obviously the Ducati of Bautista still is the benchmark, as it still has a bit more than everyone else on the grid with his lighter weight, even with the added ballast for this year. But just this year the Yamaha is seriously underpowered. Again, has it always been? Yes. This year for some reason it looks worse. There's no real inclination that they're going to turn this around in my eyes, because Yamaha have never built a fast, straight line, good outright top speed bike. They've always had a bike that will win your world championships in the corners, but at the moment that's not really where you're going to win the championship at the moment for superbikes. If you look at what Toprak is doing on the BMW, he is very good in the corners. You cannot criticise him in the corners. The amount of races he's won through Imola, now in Brno, or not Brno, in Most, and as well in Donington. He's clearly won on many different tracks and different variations. So the issue with the Yamaha for me is so little top end that they're never going to compete, even against the Kawasaki's, against the Hondas, against the BMWs, never mind the Ducatis. They just are they're fighting a losing battle, really, simple as. And unfortunately for John Ray, who's now 37, it looks like he's made the wrong move. Now, the purpose really of this little video is, should he have stayed with Kawasaki? I believe he should have. Now again, hindsight is 2020, of course. But if you look at Alex Lowe's this year, now Alex Lowe's has total 294 starts as of the time of recording before race 2 on Sunday. 4 race wins, 37 pole positions. Now if we compare that to Jonathan Ray, now I know we're not comparing direct comparison because Ray is slightly older, has had probably better chances in his career, but then you argue better riders usually get better opportunities. But Ray has had 413 starts, 119 wins, 263 podiums in his time in the World Superbike paddock. Now if we look at where Alex Lowe's currently sits in the championship, he is 4th. He's only 17 points currently behind Alvaro Bautista, which, if you said to me at the start of the year that Alvaro Bautista had come this point in the season with only 17 points ahead of Alex Lowe's, I would have said Alex Lowe's having a great season, which he is, even though he crashed yesterday, so that could even be closer. He could be pretty much level on points with Bautista when we leave the Czech round of Moss. Now, Alex has only been off the podium completely in one round, and that was Catalonia. So he did not score a podium in race 1, race 2, or the sprint race. Every other race weekend he's either won a race, he's won 2 races in the Australian round of sprint race and in race 2, and he's been on the podium scattered throughout. He had 3 podiums in a row at his home round in Donington. He's been on the podium sprint race in Imola, Czech, Rally, Dutch round, which was in Assen. So he's been really good. Now I believe the Kawasaki's made a bit of a step. Now I also believe that the ballast rule that they brought in has definitely aided Kawasaki, because they seem more consistent, especially with Alex Lowe's. He doesn't crash as much. I know he crashed yesterday, but he was in a battle, so that's kind of goes out the window. Alex Lowe's is known for crashing a lot on his own, where he's kind of in a bit of a distance, but he looks this year very consistent. Now he has also gained from Johnny Ray going to Yamaha in Perry-Riba, his new crew chief, so that is a big positive for Alex Lowe. So that's probably just a small bit where he's gained a bit more consistency and form. But if you look at that, right, and compare the two riders, you have to say, even at 37 years old, you would still take Jonathan Ray as the better rider. And what could Johnny Ray be doing this year on that Kawasaki is what the question is for me. So it's a bit of an interesting one to think about, because like the last 2 years of his Kawasaki career, he was struggling a lot. Now this year I believe he could have had a much better season, definitely better than what he's doing currently on the R1 for the Yamaha team. Now at the moment it looks like this will probably be the ending of his career, because he obviously gets the brilliant podium in the sprint race in Donington Park, but again, that's one of those tracks where I don't want to say it was more expected, but he was more quick. He got a good start, got away. It looked like the riders behind were kind of falling over each other, and he didn't get caught before the end. He wasn't able to do it in the race 1, didn't do it in race 2. So the sprint race again, it's kind of a, I don't want to gloss over as much, but if it wasn't like he did it in race 2, for example, when everyone has all that data and stuff like that. He struggled most in race 2. So yeah, Donington again, probably not the biggest power track. It's very fast and flowing, so a good chassis like the R1 has, and he only managed to get third in the sprint race, and you'd expect a rider of his caliber to be much towards the front in all races and across all tracks. But I think at the moment all Yamahas are struggling. I think they're barely breaking the top 5 each race. It's either you're seeing Locatelli, Gardner, Ray sometimes, but there's no one consistently fighting up the top of the championship. Andrea Locatelli is 5th in the championship at the moment, 129 points. He's 149 points behind Toprak at the moment. Yeah, Ray's 10th with only 65 points after all these rounds. So it's just been a miserable time for him. Of course, he had the big crash in testing. He had a horrible weekend in Australia where he bent chassis and the team couldn't get it working. Oh, it was miserable for him. Big crash in Misano. The testing looks to be going well for him. Every time they go testing, he seems to have the speed, but he can't put the 1 lap in. When he gets the 1 lap in, we saw in Donington, if he's there at the front, he can kind of stay put. His race pace isn't that bad, but I think he's just struggling with the old adage of being on a Yamaha that cannot pass either a V4 or all the other inline 4s, whether it be the BMW, Kawasaki and the Hondas. They just have so much more in terms of straight line speed that he cannot compete. And I believe if he managed to stay put on the Kawasaki this year, could be 2nd in the championship. Belega, a rookie, has made a couple of mistakes, is learning, of course. Alvaro is having a terrible season, really, in all sense, really. The championship is never going to go any other way than Toprak, so there's no way you can argue that Toprak wouldn't win this championship. But what could have Johnny Ray had done on the Kawasaki? Now that is the question that we've asked ourselves today. Is now I'm going to turn it back on you guys. What do you think? Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think it was definitely the right time? Now, he did also say that it was kind of a personal reason he wanted to kind of end off that chapter with Kawasaki, but I also think he thought what Toprak was doing on that R1 that he could better it in his own way, which is fair. Top level riders, top world championship level riders always believe that they are better than their opposition, and if he can do that, imagine what I could do with that equipment. And I think maybe a bit of a reality shock, unfortunately, for Jonathan Ray when he jumped on that R1. He says he likes the bikes and he said he feels good on it. He just doesn't have that last bit for the qualifying, that 1 lap bike to screen. But for now, it's a bit of an interesting one to see where this goes, because if he stays put there, he might never win a race again. His last race win was in the mixed conditions that you're seeing on screen of Most last year, that conditions win, where he was on the right tire and won by an absolute mile. But it'll be sad to see him kind of end off his career like this on a very uncompetitive Yamaha at the back of the grid, crashing, hurting himself. I don't see any other options in the class currently, because he is 37. That is pretty towards the end of his career, definitely. There's no question there. There was thoughts last year he might retire if he left Kawasaki, but of course he has ended up jumping to the Yamaha as we've seen this year. But that is going to be it for today. I'm going to turn the questions back on you guys though. What have you made of 2024 for Jonathan Ray? Should he stayed put? Again, we can all talk with hindsight. We know it's great now saying that. Toprak obviously was made the perfect decision to jump from the Yamaha to the BMW. But unfortunately for Jonathan Ray, it has not worked out now. I hope you all have enjoyed today's video. Thank you all for watching. Let me know with a comment down below what you think Jonathan Ray should do going forward. And did he make a mistake in jumping off his Kawasaki? Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Slog full.